Good morning and welcome to a new edition of the Betting Connection podcast. My name's Chris. I'm here with my co-host Rob. Rob, not been a good week for the Dutch Champions League teams. How's the mood over there? I know there's a lot of carnival going on. So are people downbeat or they just don't care and partying?
Definitely the second option. There's a lot more in life than playing football or watching football or your favorite teams. Yeah, we probably all seen this coming. I think the 7-1 is a little bit over exaggerated. And then every goal goes in and everything goes wrong for them and every decision goes against them. But yeah, clear that the Dutch teams are not up for the task playing against two teams that are better. Maybe it says more about the Italian league than the Dutch league at the moment. That the Dutch teams came through to like the Italians, but now no chance against Inter and definitely no chance against Arsenal. So yeah, how was it for you to get so many goal scorers, so many goals? Um,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, for anyone that listens knows that I'm an Arsenal fan and hasn't been the best of time in recent weeks, was not in the most uplifting of moods last week, but this week was definitely is definitely better. Forgot what it felt like to score a goal in general, so getting seven in a game was very nice. My personal opinion on the whole thing and Arsenal is that Champions League is suited better to Arsenal in many ways. The thing in the Champions League is that you don't play against teams that put 11 men behind the ball. You know, like in the Premier League, Arsenal have to face 95% of the teams playing a deep block or mid block at least. And Arsenal have actually had difficulty with that over the last couple of years. If anyone tries to play football against Arsenal, I back Arsenal to win those games. The record that Arsenal have had against the traditional Big Six, I say with inverted commas, is actually very good. Arsenal have only lost one game in the last 25 meetings against the traditional Big Six in the Premier League, and that one loss was 2 years ago. So, yeah, I think that's why in the Champions League it's suited better because everyone wants to have a go. So it does suit Arsenal better. And it's actually a reason, Rob, why it might sound crazy, but I actually prefer to play Real Madrid in the next round than Atletico, because if there's one team that can play the dirtiest of deep blocks, it's Diego Simeone and Atletico Madrid. So I say bring on Real I thought that it could be a PSG team in the semi-final if we managed to get there, but Liverpool somehow sneaked the win last night.
Yeah, unbelievable performance by Allison, of course. I think a plus was definitely the rating that he got for the match, man of the match. Yeah, I think Arne Slot said it as well in the interview. Like PSG, when they have ball possession, it's a different kind of team. They were playing very well, and definitely in the first half, they had some real clear-cut chances. Second half, they had to shoot more from distance because I think Arne Slot worked out how to defend a little bit better against them. But still, I think Liverpool played very bad. I didn't see Gravenberg have any composure. Salah had a no-show, and then still to get away with a win. Yeah, that's the luck of the champions of the champions. So I think like they must play better next week as well. Like if they're gonna have the same game, I think it's gonna be a very open game next time. If Salah and the other players play a little bit better, then you're also playing in Anfield. PSG has to go for it. I think it's gonna be fireworks. I thought it was a very uh, fun match to watch, even though it was 0-0 for such a long time. It was very entertaining. Did you catch any of it?
I watched all of it. I thought, yeah, it was a really good match. I thought the first half PSG looked excellent. They had Liverpool on the ropes. Dembele, I mean, what's happened to that guy since Christmas? I mean, his form's ridiculous. He looked electric. And I'm not going to try and pronounce the other winger's
Gravachvelia.
name that's the one from Napoli, the Georgian. Yeah,
Yeah.
he looked great last night as well. I was really impressed. I liked him. I've always liked him actually. That guy. I'm surprised that it was just a free market for PSG. It didn't seem like there was many other teams in the race. Maybe it was a done deal early on, maybe. But yeah, no, I really liked him and thought he looked good. Next week, you got to fancy Liverpool, even without the lead. Even if it finished 0-0, you still fancy Liverpool. Champions League night at Anfield. The atmosphere is going to be electric. Yeah, and I agree. I think there's going to be a lot of goals in the game, but I can't see past Liverpool now.
No, me neither, to be honest. Although, like normally I don't watch the whole thing, like the post interviews as well. And now I saw Luis Enrique came on, and what an optimistic guy he was. Like he was very friendly, he was very happy. Like he was sad that he lost, but he said like, yeah, was the best game we ever played, and if we're gonna play this like this again, we'll definitely have the chances, and then we have to just take them. And then you see Arne Slot taking a whole different kind of view. I like that he goes on and says what he changed tactically throughout the first half, after the first half. And then he goes on and says like, okay, we really need Anfield, and we really need Anfield twice because we already had a tough game. Now we have to play Southampton. So I like that he tries to like pump up the Liverpool fans to like even motivate the team more when they're playing at Anfield.
Yeah, I've got a lot of time for Luis Enrique, and he's very philosophical, generally speaking. But I think, well, he's had a lot of trauma in his life, hasn't he? So he speaks in a very, I don't know, deep way. Really like him, really like him. He's doing a fantastic job as well, and PSG looks so much better, don't they, without like that
Yeah,
those star names, you know. So fair
definitely.
play to them. So okay. Well, let's move on. Let's quickly just chat last week. Frustrating week last week. We did all right. Like we had some good winners, but there was a couple of ones that we weren't expecting maybe so much that didn't make it an amazing weekend. But there were still some good ones. Like, well, there's only one place to start when reviewing, and that's fading Heidenheim again. I mean, this is just becoming. I feel like it's becoming free money a little bit this season, fading Heidenheim. So another one last week with Borussia Mönchengladbach at 2.3. I mean, that felt good.
Yeah, it was you really on that train of fading Heidenheim. You made me actually look at Heidenheim as well this Sunday, but you're a little bit more of the expert here. So, did you already take a look at that match?
I did take a look at it, and we will come to it when we're going around the
Okay.
country. So we'll have a little chat about that. I'm looking at it, and I have got an opinion on it. So we'll come on to that later. Also in Germany last week, I mentioned Wolfsburg away at Bremen, if you remember, as well. I pushed more heavily on the double chance at 1.5 to put in doubles and accas. But for those risk takers, they would have taken it at 2.6 and got a winner.
Boom, shakalaka.
From Shakalaka. And of course, we also backed Roma as well to beat Como, although I was worried a little bit. They went 1-0 down, but then, 10 men. And well, they got back to 1-1, and then it was 10 men and they got the job done. So that was nice as well. But I think the one that stopped it from being an amazing weekend for me was actually Feyenoord, because Ajax and Feyenoord double I had, and the Feyenoord leg let that down. Even though I think they should have won, I didn't see it, but from what I gather, they should have won that match.
Yeah, they definitely should have won that match. Although Feyenoord is lacking goals, that's probably the main thing. They have a lot of possession, they have a lot of shots, they have quite a lot of shots on target, but they just seems to lack a finisher. So
And they've
that
got a lot of injuries as well, haven't they?
yeah, loads of them. And yeah, you had like Jimenez, who was a little bit on and off last season, or definitely the second half of the last season, but he came back to scoring ways, definitely in the first half of the season, towards the end of the year, and then he made the transfer to AC Milan. And I think for Feyenoord, it's a good season, Champions League wise, money wise, but definitely the performances in the league are lacking.
And the Big Gun Acca, was it only Atalanta that let it down?
Yep, only
I think it
Atalanta.
was. Yeah, that's such a shame. 3.41, just Atalanta. So that was frustrating for you as well.
We have another one this this weekend coming up for you guys.
Okay, can you give us a little preview of what the odds are overall, or we got to wait till
Oh.
later?
I can give you. We're back to almost evens. It's
Oh, we're going for a traditional
a
even money Big
very
Gun Acca.
traditional, only the big teams. Like I have some quite short odds on some like mid-table teams that I like as well, but maybe we can better make a double out of it and leave the Big Gun Acca to be a real big team, Big Gun Acca.
Okay, and well, let before we get there, let's round up the countries. Then there was no Premier League action last week because of the FA Cup. Obviously, I wasn't very interested in the FA Cup fixtures last week. I will say now, though, now the winners of the games have been the winners. I'm actually looking at the quarterfinals now, thinking it is actually quite interesting now, and I think that I will be quite immersed in the remaining of this competition because it's all those kind of middle line teams, like your Bournemouths, your Forests, your Fulhams, Crystal Palace, all have a chance of winning that competition. I would love to see a team like that win the FA Cup. Of course, Man City is still there, and you would probably think that they will find a way of getting it done. But it would be great to see one of those kind of teams that have been decent all season in the Premier League winning the trophy.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I always like the underdog story. I'm always rooting for the underdogs. So let's hope Manchester City, they already have enough silverware, definitely late the last couple of years. So maybe Crystal Palace is a nice shout.
I would love to see Crystal Palace win it. I mean, I have a soft spot for the majority of London teams being from London. Obviously, that doesn't count Tottenham and Chelsea, but pretty much everybody else, I have a soft spot for, especially Crystal Palace. Would love to see that them win it, or Fulham as well. I've got a soft spot for Fulham,
And you
so
must have a lot of
interesting.
soft spots with so many football teams
But
professional in London, like
there's
17.
there's so many London teams, especially in the Premier League these days. It's good for London football. But yeah, I would love to see a team like that win it, and even a Nottingham Forest. Like it would be good to see somebody like that lift the trophy. So, but Premier League this week, and speaking of Nottingham Forest, and speaking of Man City, they actually play each other this weekend. First game of the weekend is that match early Saturday. Do you have a lean or a fancy on that one?
No, to be honest, no. For me, it's very hard to pick that match. And I didn't even look at the odds, to be honest. But yeah, they must
I
be
can well,
evenly
I
matched.
could tell you, Nottingham Forest are 3.9 and Man City are 1.9.
Wow. Wow. That's large for Nottingham, to be honest. There must
It
be a
is,
good
but
game.
it is, but I don't fancy it.
No, I don't fancy it maybe as a bet, but I could see having Manchester City have another slip up. Why not? Like they've been on and off it a little bit for a while now. So they have some good performances mixed up with some bad performances. And Nottingham Forest is not a pushover. Definitely when they're playing at home, they know there's a lot on the line. This is a game. They're definitely up for it. So I do like.
I yeah, I actually fancy Man City to win this game. I don't rate Nottingham Forest as much as a lot of other people, Rob. I know that's not new news to you. I think I've mentioned it a few times actually.
And
And
you
okay,
saw
they're
them
doing
play
great.
live, right? You saw them play
I
live.
saw him play live. I saw him play live, but it's not just that. I've just caught a couple of other matches. Everyone raves and raves about them. Obviously the proof's in the pudding. They are third. I can't speak too badly of them, but I just don't see it quite the same. And the two matches. I mean, Arsenal drew 0-0 there the other week. Honestly, like if we had a striker, that would have been 3 or 4-0. It was an easy game. Like we've played many games where like we struggle to get through or to get to dominate completely. But that Nottingham Forest has not been one of those teams. I've found it quite easy, and I'm not being that impressed when I've been really watching them. In the two Arsenal games. But maybe it was just the two Arsenal games. I have seen them in other matches, of course, but they have actually like they've only won one in the last 5 matches now. They've lost 3 of those, and they drew to Arsenal. And honestly, if we had any form of forwards in that game, that's another loss. And Man City have started to find a bit of form. Okay, they lost to Arsenal and Liverpool, but they have won all the other matches they've played recently. Tottenham, Newcastle, Chelsea, smashed Ipswich, beat West Ham. They drew away to Brentford, which they were 2-0 up with not long left. So I actually do fancy Man City here. I think 1.9 isn't amazing value, but I'm definitely leaning towards it.
Okay, for me, it's a no bet.
It's a no bet for you and for me probably as well. I'm probably not going to. I sometimes wait to the day as well, like I put my bets on early after we speak this pod, and then I look again at the weekend. And sometimes, like, I'll read somebody else that backs me up a little bit, and maybe I'll follow through with it. So I think if I see any of my regular go-to people saying the same kind of thing, I think I might have a play on that 1.9. But I don't think it's the kind of game that I'm ever going to stick my neck out and say, yeah, let's, this is a good bet.
Okay,
Okay,
let's see
but
how it plays out.
elsewhere, Rob, in the Premier League, is there anything else that catches your eye? Liverpool way too short. Obviously, easiest game of the season at home to Southampton. We're not going to do that. Maybe they're the Big Gun Acca, I imagine. Anybody
Yeah.
else there?
Maybe Crystal Palace. We just talked about them. They might be a little bit too short, but I do like them as a win. Like I think it's a very important game for them to beat Ipswich, and because they're getting closer and closer to like the upper mid table. I think they're on a quite a good run. They are third in the form table. They won their last 3 matches, if you include the FA Cup win against Millwall, convincingly win against Aston Villa. They beat Fulham away from home 2-0, and then they had a loss against Everton before that. But yeah, I kind of like this match. Crystal Palace, a team in form, looking to climb the table a little bit more and secure the Premier League spot for next year. And yeah, Ipswich almost seems destined to go down. They still have definitely a fighting chance with Wolves, but that's about it.
Yeah, you know what my notes are for the Premier League this weekend. I've put it under the Premier League. I've put Palace too short. So or a bit short. Yeah, I really like Palace as well, and I was really hoping that they would be a little bit closer to that kind of value range. And when I saw it, I was a little bit disappointed and potentially a little bit short. I know they're in good form, but Ipswich have got the odd good result.
Yeah,
And
they do.
yeah, I was hoping for a little bit more, but they will find their way onto the Big Gun Acca Palace. The other match that caught my eye odds wise is the Wolves Everton match. And I was quite surprised to see Everton as underdogs in this match. Wolves are 2.55 to win, and Everton are 2.9. And Everton have been doing pretty well recently. What did you think to that?
Didn't really look at the match so far. I know Everton is in quite good form. I was thinking about this match, and what I think about Everton is that definitely before the other coach was there, they always try to like keep a close shop and don't let in too many goals, don't score too many goals. But after the change of the coach, I'm not sure about his name. You probably know his name. Um, but there's a lot more goals in those games. So I am always interested to look at the goal market in these kinds of matches of Everton. Um, like to win or draw or lose, I don't have a real opinion on it.
Well, I kind of agree. But don't forget, Cunha is suspended, and he's been the one player recently that's kind of been, since the January transfer window shut and all the speculation ended, he's been on fire again for Wolves. Even though Wolves have not been in good form, him personally has been doing well. He's suspended. And Everton, they're unbeaten in 7 matches. Can you believe that? Unbeaten in 7 matches. And there's some decent teams in there. Tottenham, Brighton, Liverpool, Palace themselves. They won away at Palace. And we're just talking about Palace's good form. Drew away at Brentford. You know, they drew at home to Man United, but that should have been a win. So I really, really am leaning towards an Everton win here, 2.9. I think that's quite generous. I don't think they should be the underdog. And definitely like maybe a double chance on Acca's if you don't feel brave enough for the win.
Yeah, that's definitely also a good shout. I think if you look at value, then Everton play is definitely interesting. I also found one that I like is at the goal market is Everton over 1.5 goals, 2.8. It's not that bad. They only have to score twice.
2.8 to score 2 goals. That's quite interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's I just looked it up, so it's less than a lean for me. But and I saw the odds on over 2.5 goals is over
They've
even.
scored, Everton have scored 2 or more in 5 of the last 7 matches.
So then 2.8 is also a value play. And I do like what you mentioned. Cunha is a big part of Wolves performing well. And if he's not playing, then there's a lot less risk for Everton. So yeah, could be a shout.
Could be a shot. I think I'm leaning towards an Everton win there. Anything else? I haven't really got anything in the Premier League. I do fancy, I suppose, Arsenal to beat Man United. It is 1.75. That puts it in good value range. They're going to be doing a black clothes protest, I believe, Man United at the match. They're all encouraging the fans to go dressed in black to represent the death of the football club.
Wow. Wow.
So, so
Wow.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you would expect Arsenal to win. I still would put some caution on that. You know, nothing's changed. There's no players coming back. We still technically don't have four of our 4 first choice forwards. So just because, you know, scoring 7 against PSV, I'd still play with caution on that one. But it is tempting at 1.75, and maybe they've got a bit of confidence now to go on and score some goals. I'm not too sure, but would you have a nibble at that at 1.75 Arsenal?
Nah, at the moment, it's for me
Yeah, it's too
too
risky. Yeah.
unproven. Like the 7-1 could be, like I know PSV doesn't have the best of defense, and Manchester United sometimes have those games that they really overperform defensively. And I think it's not proven yet for Arsenal. Like those 7 goals are really nice, but it's just a one time. If they did it like 3 matches in a row, scoring at least like twice, then I would say like yeah, I would definitely think of Arsenal, and I'm definitely rooting for you to get an Arsenal win, and I kind of like to see Manchester United scramble a little bit longer, although they definitely stay up this season. So yeah.
Yeah, the only sad thing about the Premier League this year is that the title's done and the bottom three's done. So, you know, we're only just into March, and you know the two ends of the table are really accounted for just the Champions League places, which does look really interesting, to be fair, and it has done for a long time. So that's definitely something to still be excited about. But yeah, it's a bit boring, if you like, when you know we know who's going to win the league and we know who's going to get relegated. Unfortunately for Man United, the bottom three are so bad that there's no risk for them getting relegated. Otherwise, if one or two of them were putting some results together, you know, they'd absolutely be in a relegation fight.
Yeah, exactly. Although I do like Manchester United as a club, and I want them to like be better. But they just seems to be a bad luck spell over them since Alex Ferguson left. It's no manager can do the job, can do the task. No player can do the task. It's a little bit of a graveyard. So if you want to ruin your career at the moment, it seems like you have to move to Manchester. Um,
Absolutely.
so, but I do like it to like have the traditional teams up there. You definitely love the games between Vieira and Keane build-ups, and like that was definitely in my younger years and a very vivid memory of very early memory for me as well for the Premier League. So I definitely always like Manchester United to get back up there.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see how they recover as a club because it's toxic from top to bottom, it seems. But yeah, interesting viewing one way or another, whether it's popcorn or with a little bit of sadness to
Exactly.
want them to get them back as well. But either way, let's move on. Holland, we mentioned the Dutch teams in the Champions League. One Dutch team that is not having a bad time right now is Ajax. Ajax winning ugly again. PSV losing again. It is 8 points. Is that it now? Is that it done? Have we completely flipped this around with an Ajax title winning season?
If you would ask the Ajax head coach Farioli, he would definitely say, "No, no, there's still the challenge. We're still not even the favorites for now." But he plays that role to perfection at the moment. He keeps on winning. I can't really see. Nah, I can't say anything about it anymore because I thought PSV is gonna win the title anyway on multiple occasions in throughout the season. So definitely not not a sure thing, but yeah, really good performance from Ajax, from the head coach Farioli, and the players as well. No one saw that coming, and it's a little bit like PSV is definitely blowing up. Like they like I you can't even like it's unbelievable. I think they were like 8 or 9 points ahead of Ajax. I think in the end of December, and then after January they're now 8 points behind. Like they were invincible, but now they can't seem to get a win.
Incredible. And Ajax are 1.6 to win this weekend. Away at, how do you say this team? PEC or PEC? What do you say? PEC Zwolle or
PEC
PEC Zwolle?
Zwolle, yeah, PEC
PEC
Zwolle.
Zwolle.
Yeah.
PEC
And
Zwolle.
it-
1.6 to win Ajax. Is that seems quite generous, or what do you think on that?
yeah, it's quite generous to be honest. Ajax do have to play in the Europa League, and they're not that convincing throughout the games. So there's still a lot of pundits as well going like maybe they will mess up a couple of matches because it seems like everything goes for them. They had like again there was a clear-cut chance for the opposition. The goalkeeper from Ajax came out last match, and then he had like clear-cut chance to score, and he hits the bar for an empty goal. So it showed that Ajax is on the right track. Like it's similar to Liverpool, when
You
they
took, you took the words out of my mouth, Rob.
yeah, it's true, right? So they probably win this match again, and I'm a little bit unsure about it, but I have been unsure about it for a couple of weeks now, and they prove me wrong every time. So yeah, I cannot go against them again. So even if it's short, play Ajax.
I'm doing the student ACCAs as we go along this weekend. Okay, so I've added Ajax for that. So far, I've got Crystal Palace. I've put Everton or the draw, double chance, and I've put Ajax. Although I'm a little bit like you, I'm not. I might take it off. Let's see where the rest of this pod takes us with these picks, and if I've got room to remove one, I might remove it. I just think that at some point, winning runs always come to an end, right? So it
They
does have to come to an end at some point. And like you say, they haven't been convincing. I was listening to they had an interview on like local English sports radio station this week with Rafael van der Vaart, and he was talking about it all as well, and very much talking about how it's not really convincing. They're not playing the most amazing of football, but yeah, just getting the wins.
Yeah.
So maybe it will come to an end. Although PEC Zwolle don't give massive confidence.
A
They're a
little
very
side
bitter.
note, do you know
Yeah,
where
go
they're
on.
famous for? Probably most famous for at the moment in time?
No,
Arne Slot.
on a
He was
slot, really.
he was a hero, like a legend for PEC Zwolle. And PEC Zwolle is a little bit of a mid-table slash lower ranked team in Holland. Definitely has his ups and downs, and he was like a big part of their squad, and that was his level. Arne Slot played at that level, and he was quite good at that level. Nothing more, nothing less. And I think it was his first coaching job as well, Zwolle, where he did a real good job, and then he moved on to AZ, Feyenoord, and now Liverpool. So that's PEC Zwolle.
Yeah, okay. Well, so I did not know that. And this team, looking at them, it's a difficult team to want to bet for or against, to be quite honest, looking at their results. Very mixed. There's no patterns to it whatsoever. They've actually got some good results at home against good teams. PSV they drew with FC Utrecht as well at home. But then they've also got smashed on a couple of occasions, like 5-1 at home to Feyenoord. They lost 6-0 away at PSV. It's a real mixed bag, and yeah, you just don't know what you're going to get.
No, they like to play football. They like to keep attacking in their attacking minds as well. So there seems to be quite a lot of goals in their matches, either way. Sometimes for them, sometimes against them. That's like throughout the season. But then again, if you look at Ajax, Ajax is a team that's conceding less and less. Like they're almost conceding no goals at the moment. So I'm not looking at the goal market. I do like Ajax as a lean.
Ajax are unbeaten in 8 in this meeting as well, winning 7 of those. They've won 7 of the last 8 meetings and 4 in a row at the home of PEC Zwolle as well, just as a side note.
Okay.
Uh,
There's only one more match that I kind of like. It's very short if you want to have like a fun bet or like maybe double it up with like the likings of Crystal Palace. It's FC Twente at home to Almere City. Almere City is trying to avoid relegation and they're actually playing quite well. They have quite a lot of good footballers. They actually playing well against Ajax. They had most of the position, most of like they look quite good, and they also played well against Feyenoord. And I like them all, but it's FC Twente at home. FC Twente needs the win to like keep the Champions League. Yeah, they need to win this to catch up with FC Utrecht, who's in the Champions League spot right now. So if you want to have like a yeah, double up with another short that you could really like to win a match and don't even look at the yards because it's too short, that's the one for me in
yeah,
Holland.
I saw that game as well, and as soon as I saw the odds, I left it because it being short. But yeah, definitely fancy them to win. The other game, the last game that caught my attention actually was Go Ahead Eagles. Go Ahead Eagles beat PSV last week. You know what? We mentioned them last week because you actually said, worth potentially backing. And we never really spoke about it. Spoke about the odds. Did you know that Go Ahead Eagles were 5.2 to win that match last week?
No,
And
no.
we did mention kind of, maybe a double chance. We didn't really go into the odds on it. I looked after our recording last week to have a look, and I was like, 5.2. And I completely forgot to have a nibble at the weekend, and they ended up winning. So, yeah, I'm a bit gutted on that because I specifically looked for it and then forgot to put the bet on. But either way, they're underdogs this weekend, Rob. Okay, they're away from home. I think we can all agree Go Ahead Eagles are a really strong home team and not so much away. But is there a nibble here at 3.3 away at, again, I don't really want to crucify the name of this team.
NEC, neck.
EC Nijmegen.
Yeah, and this one you say
Uh,
NEC because otherwise
NEC.
you say neck and that means throat or similar, like neck,
Yeah,
like
I know, because that's
not
why I had
throat.
to check with PEC Zwolle, because I knew there was one that you read out by the initials, and I know there
Yeah,
was one that you didn't. So that's the two. So neck, sorry, NEC. Sorry, I just got one. NEC. Yeah, it's certainly not a game that wow, like oh, there's definitely a clear winner here. But is there a play on Go Ahead Eagles as an underdog here, or stay well away? What do you think?
no, I actually like the price. Definitely, if you beat PSV twice in a row, you must be very confident to get a win against NEC. And to be honest, NEC is not performing that well. They tried different styles. They did had a lot of young talent. Now they bought a lot of older players to get more experience. But yeah, I definitely like this shout.
Yeah, it's one to keep an eye on. I can't speak strongly for it because when I'm doing my research on it, it doesn't qualify many criteria, but
It's not
purely just a
3.3 for nothing, right? It's not 3.3 for nothing.
exactly, yeah, exactly, Rob. It's just a feeling because this team have been doing well against supposedly the best team in the league, or certainly the second best team in the league.
Yep.
And they think they can get results. It's true that they do mostly get those results at home, but they've had some good results away as well. It's not like terrible, and yeah, it's probably worth a shout at 3.3. Anyway, let's move on to Spain. Spain, fantastic title race this year. All teams in action as well in the Champions League, especially the Madrid derby was interesting in midweek. Did you catch any of that on Tuesday night?
No, not really, to be honest.
No, I mean me neither. I was obviously watching the Arsenal game, so I didn't catch it. Yeah, I believe it was a bit. There were some fantastic goals, but I don't think there was much goal mouth action. To be honest, it didn't seem like there. It was big chances, but there were some fantastic goals in the match, which you expect from world class players. So but anyway, moving on to this weekend in La Liga. Is there anything that stands out to you? I've got one game that I like, but there's not a lot going on.
I like Valencia.
Yeah, so do I.
I already thought so. It's yeah, it's definitely a must win for them, right?
It is, but how bad does Valladolid have to give Valencia odds of 1.38, considering the plight of Valencia this season?
1.38?
Yeah.
Unreal. That's
It's
really
unreal. Yeah, I know, Rob. I was so disappointed when I saw it because I was like, oh, yeah, I really fancy Valencia there. Valladolid are not good and Valencia turned their form. But you would have expected it somewhere around the 1.7, no?
exactly at
L-
least.
Yeah, Valencia are not a team you're going to put your mortgage on by any stretch, but that just goes to show how bad. Do you remember we mentioned this like a couple of weeks ago? Bilbao were 1.12 or something. I was like, that's crazy odds. This is Bilbao. It's not like peak Barcelona. But that's how bad. And obviously, I don't know if you caught that, but Bilbao ended up spanking them for seven, I think it was. So, yeah, this is just obviously a really bad team getting worse and worse and worse. So, yes, Valencia, but there's little we can do other than put this on the Student Acca.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think.
There's nothing really else. Atletico Madrid are even money away at Getafe, but Getafe can get results at home. I don't really love that one.
No, me neither. A little bit too short. And you never know with the Champions League in mind, you're right. Like they know
Yeah,
they have to
yeah.
perform again, and it's a close game between them, Real Madrid and Atletico. So they definitely fancy the chances when they're playing at home.
And it's next week, isn't it? There's no gap in that. It's next week,
It is,
the
but
second
I
leg.
do like
Yeah.
the value of it. If you look at like if you get 1.38 for Valencia and you get like over evens for Atletico, then Atletico by far the smartest play, even though they're focus will be mainly on the Champions League. Although this is a season to get the league win as well for them. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I don't really know what to make of it. Like you say, on one hand, there is definitely value there, and Getafe have lost the last two matches, but they were in good form before that. They're a bit untested against the top teams at home. They haven't played, obviously, Atletico. They haven't played Real Madrid, Bilbao, Villarreal, who make up the top five at the moment. They've only played Barcelona at home out of the top five, which was a 1-1 draw. So they're a bit untested, and I like to see a little bit of a pattern before I can say one way or another whether I fancy them or not. So it's difficult to know. And Atletico, they can throw quite a few draws in their away matches. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's good value, but I don't feel strongly enough about it. One game I do feel more strongly about, and it's better odds as well. It's Villarreal away at Alaves. Now, if I remember rightly, this is like 2.4 or something. Let me check. Villarreal 2.45 away at Alaves. And I do like this a lot stronger. Reason being is Alaves are poorer than Getafe, for example. They're second from bottom. They're in pretty poor form. They've only won one of the last eight. They've lost four in that time. They've lost three of their last four at home. They're not scoring many goals. And Villarreal doing really well recently. They're in fifth place now. They've only lost one in the last eight. They've won five of those. They won away last week, Rayo Vallecano. They won away before that at Las Palmas as well. They drew away at Atletico Madrid. So they've been getting decent results. Alaves are poor, second from bottom. Only Valladolid are worse than them this season. We all know how bad Valladolid is, especially in the bookmakers' eyes. So, yeah, I quite like the odds on this one, Rob, 2.45.
Yeah, it's definitely a good price. I like it.
Yeah, and they've got a pretty decent record as well against Alaves. There's a lot going for this one. And I mentioned Villarreal's form there. Only Barcelona have got more points than Villarreal over the last eight matches. So, we know there's been some good form teams like your Bilbao's and obviously your Madrid teams, but Villarreal more points than all of those at the moment. So, yeah, also by the way, as well, this is quite surprising. They have only Barcelona have got more away points than Villarreal this season as well. So Villarreal have got more away points than Real Madrid, having played a game less than them as well. Third in the table for scoring goals. Yeah, there's a lot of Villarreal are a bit underrated. We don't talk
Had an
about them
extra
a lot
week
at
of
this point.
rest as well, huh? They had an
Yeah.
extra week of rest. So yeah.
So we don't talk. Can't remember talking much about Villarreal this season with you, Rob. But they've gone under the radar a little bit, and they're they're high up in a lot of metrics. A lot of
Yeah.
metrics. They're quite high up. They're scoring a lot of goals, doing
Yeah.
really well away from home against a very poor team in all aspects. So yeah, I like this. I like the price, 2.45.
Okay. You
Okay,
found
nothing else. Nothing else in Spain, Rob.
no, not nothing else for me.
Well, let's move on to Germany. Germany was very kind for me last week with those two games we mentioned earlier. Heidenheim is becoming our real cash in this season. Although this weekend, Heidenheim is not as attractive to me purely because I just think it's a little bit short. Like, who's up this week? It's Hoffenheim.
Exactly.
And Hoffenheim are not a team that give me a lot of confidence, neither. Not somebody that I would definitely back heavily. And when I looked at the odds here of 1.75, even though it is a value pick price, didn't give me the same confidence when I was looking at this. I don't know. You mentioned that you were looking at Heidenheim based on all these recent conversations. What did you find?
I would leave it up to you. I did see Hoffenheim is on quite a good run. They won two out of the last three matches. They beat Werder Bremen. They beat Bochum. We talked about a lot about Bochum, and they had a draw against Stuttgart. Yeah, maybe it's a bit short. It's another team to be proven. Then again, it's fading Heidenheim. It's not for nothing. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe it's a
It's
good one for the Student Acca.
I was just gonna say, like, I don't think I feel confident enough putting this as a value pick, and the reason for that is Hoffenheim's home form. Yes, they have had a couple of good results recently. They were both away from home. Their home form is pretty poor. But having said that as well, they've only won three at home all season, Hoffenheim. But two of those wins were to the other teams in the bottom three. So they beat Holstein, Kiel, and Bochum at home, and Heidenheim squeezed in second from bottom. So yeah, let's fade Heidenheim. I didn't love the price. I was hoping for more than evens. Let's put it this way: when I do my research, I go through like a criteria check, right?
Mm.
Borussia Mönchengladbach last week passed almost every criteria check, and they were like 2.4, 2.35, and then I can't remember, something like that. And then Hoffenheim at 1.75, they don't pass as many of those checks. So that's when I'm like, I don't see the value as much and would have preferred it a little bit closer to even money. But yeah, let's put it on the Student Acca and continue this train of fading Heidenheim. It certainly hasn't let us down.
Okay. You
Nothing
like
else for
anything
me in
else?
Germany. Nothing else for me in Germany at all, Rob. Don't know about you.
No, I have one for the Big Gun Acca, but that's about it.
Yeah, well, I imagine that is well. It depends how short you've gone, but Leverkusen and Bayern Munich could be Borussia Dortmund. Rob, I was contemplating this one for the Student Acca 1.3 at home to Augsburg, but Borussia Dortmund, although I think they got a result last week, did they? They've been
Yeah.
in really poor form. They got two wins on the row now. Is that it turning, or do we still stay away? Augsburg actually have unbeaten in the last eight.
I'm definitely staying away from this one. Borussia has still a big game to play on, I think it's Wednesday against Lille in the Champions League. They just got a draw on Tuesday night against them, so away from home now in the second leg. And as you said, Augsburg is definitely no pushover. They're quite a good team, ranking up some good results. They seem quite hard to beat as well. So you said the it was 1.3 for Borussia Dortmund.
One no, 1.58, I think it was.
I think it's too short for me.
Still too short, isn't
Um,
it?
Yeah, and as you said correctly, with ticking all the boxes, I think betting, we have to look at betting that way. Like there's so many matches throughout the week. It has to just, we'll always find those matches that tick all the boxes. And that's the ones we have to go for. And even those plays don't always go as we want them to go, but at least we get the value and at least we think it's a very thought through pick.
Okay, let's move on to Serie A very quickly because I have a play here and also got a game I like in the French league as well. So let's move on to Serie A first. Rob, when I looked at the fixtures this weekend in Serie A, we spent a lot of time fading Como. And then I saw this weekend, oh, Como, home to Phoenicia. Finally, a time to back Como. That's got to be kind of round value pick range, 1.7, something like that, 1.75. They were 1.57, a little bit short, let me down a little bit with my thinking. Maybe Student Acca, are we going to put Como on? We spend so much time fading them. Should we back them?
Yeah, we're gonna back them. I also had this one written down, and I do like the look of Como. As I said before, I watched a couple of games now from them, and yeah, I like their style. Like they really try to play attacking football. They really try to go for it, even against the bigger teams. They had quite a lot of possession, and they really tried to create something. Definitely when they were playing at home. So yeah, this is. Um, if it's not going to be like a relegation battle kind of match, and not a lot of ugly tackles and not a lot of ugly fights, but probably Venezia is gonna try to do it. But if they can keep playing football, it's a great venue there at stadium. You can like I was watching that game against Napoli when they were playing at home, and you could see the sea in the background, or like I think it's a lake, right? The Como Lake. So it
It's
must,
like, come on.
yeah, it's Lake Como. So that must be in the background as well. I think it's Saturday afternoon. Yeah, Saturday afternoon must be a little bit sunny. Team must be up for it. Grab 3 points and make sure you never have to look back behind to your relegation spots.
I mean, Cesc Fabregas is living the dream, right? First proper coaching role, out in Lake Como, rubbing shoulders with George Clooney and such like, you know? He must be living the dream.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Unreal, unreal. So we'll put them on the Acca, a little bit short. I was a bit disappointed. I was hoping for a little bit higher, but it is what it is. And we will put them on the Student Acca. Are there any other plays that you like this weekend?
For value, I like to go to Roma. They are first in the form table. They are now eighth. We talked about them quite a lot lately, of them turning it around with Ranieri now as their head coach. And they have to play Empoli. And Empoli is actually second to last in the form table. They're in 18th place. It's a relegation spot. And you can find Roma for over even money, like 2.05. So I think there's definitely value. You have to keep in mind Roma still is playing in the Europa League tonight in Athletic de Bilbao. So that's a tough fixture for them. But if I look for value, this is the play. Como at home. Um, it's a little bit like the only thing that doesn't tick the box is that they have to play in Europe on Thursday and they have to play again. But then again, is Europa League really their biggest goal, or are they also dreaming of maybe Champions League? And they're in good form, and I think it's a good price against a team that's not in a good form.
Best form in the league. Best form in the league, 20 points over the last 8 matches, AS Roma. I also, this is my one pick for the Serie A as well. And my notes on this was Roma, very generous. Better than even money. I thought very, very generous from the bookies on this one. For the reasons that you mentioned. I mean, they are in really good form. They've not been the best away team this season. That's probably why we're getting the odds, because they haven't been the best away team. But
No.
come on, I mean, I know Empoli because you backed Genoa, didn't you, last week to beat Empoli, which didn't happen. They got a 1-1 draw, but yeah, I think it was still a solid pick, and they were in. They had, I mean, apart from that, I don't know how that game played out, but they were in terrible form before that. You know, they lost 6 of their previous 7. They are in bad form. They've been getting roughed up as well, Rob. Like roughed up. 5-0 at home to Atalanta, 3-0 away at Udinese, 4-1 away at Juventus. They're getting roughed up. So best form in the league. Got to back them a better than even money. I do like it.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to Ligue 1, and yeah, there's a couple of games I like here for the Student Acca. A bit too short for any kind of value pick. I like Lille at home to Montpellier and Marseille at home to Lens.
Yes, I had
Firstly,
Marseille as well.
so Lille and Marseille are going on to the Student Acca.
Yeah, the
There
only
is
thing that
a
puts me off is Lille is that they the same as I said before for the Borussia Dortmund game. Like I sometimes like try to watch out for those teams that also play in Europe. But then again, if you look at Montpellier's form, it's they lost their last 5, right?
They are poor. They are poor. They're bottom of the league. They're bottom of the league. They've lost right. They've lost all of their away games except one.
Oh my God. Yeah.
10 out of 11 away games they've lost. So they've lost their last five in a row. You mentioned they've lost 10 out of 11 away. I mean, come on, what we're doing here. Lille, yeah, I understand what you say. I know that's something you really look out for. I do as well, especially if it's an away match. It doesn't bother me as much when they're playing at home. Yeah, and Lille are at home here against the worst team in the league, the worst away team in the league by far. Yeah, you got to really, and it's not like they're not like bad odds either. It's not like 1.1, 1.2, 1.4. Definitely worth a double. I mean, the Lille Marseille double would be quite nice on its own, better than even money.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, it's
So
out.
yeah, like them. The one that I like value pick wise is actually Nice. Nice are home to Lyon. And now Lyon are flying pretty high themselves. But Lyon, they're not brilliant away from home, apart from the fact that they beat Montpellier, like we just mentioned Montpellier. But they beat Montpellier 4-1 last time they played away from home. But before that, they weren't winning, and Nice are in really good, like good form generally, and very very good at home. Only Paris Saint-Germain have got more points than Nice over the last 8 matches, and I don't know why. This one isn't like, oh my god, this is definitely a banker. But Nice are unbeaten at home, and yeah, I just fancy them as the home team here. Like Lyon are pretty poor away. They haven't had the hardest of matches either. So they've played like only three of the top eight away from home. So they've still got like a few games to play away from home against better teams. They lost to PSG and Marseille away. They drew away at Lille. They're not terrible, but Nice being a really strong home team, they've won the last four in a row, only lost one in the last eight. Yeah, just I like this, and it's even money or better than even money. Yeah, it's 2.05. So it's not one that I feel like amazingly strong about, but one that stood out as I like the price, so I'm gonna play it.
Okay. I like your reasoning behind it. And yeah, Nice definitely looks like a team in form and they could get the win.
Okay, I take it you don't have anything else in Ligue 1, and that will round us up for our European adventure.
Exactly. I have nothing left, and that's about it.
Okay, let's get on to those Accas. Oh no, no, no! Top five, Rob. Have you got a top five for me?
I have something else for you.
Oh,
I have
tell
a bracket for you.
me, a
And you can
bracket.
choose. I have three versions ready to go. Is it gonna be, it's about Arsenal players. And we're gonna have a bracket, and you have to pick every time who's gonna win, and then we'll find out who you rate highest at the end. We could go for the Legends bracket, we could go for the Modern Era bracket, or we could go for the Underrated Stars. Which one do you like?
Ah, underrated stars sounds more interesting because the lead is going to be your Bergkamps and Henry's, right? So yeah, underrated,
Okay, okay, I
underrated.
like your pick. Okay,
Let's go
first
underrated.
up, first match off between those two players. It's Freddie Ljungberg versus Sylvain Wiltord.
Ljungberg,
Paul Merson versus Jose Antonio Reyes.
Merson, rest in peace, Jose. But yeah, Merson. Merson was my idol growing up, absolute idol. And in terms of it, more on the pitch than off the pitch. there's an argument that he could be an idol off the pitch as well in a certain part of my life. But certainly a fantastic player. And he was my that's when I was really going a lot to the games in kind of 93, 92, 93, 94. And yeah, fantastic.
Okay, Merson continues. Andre Arshavin or Ray Parler.
Ooh. That's a difficult one. I'm gonna go. Look, Arshavin was bang bang, and he did do like some amazing things, but it was over a very short period. Ray Parlour did it for many, many, many years, and he was integral to many of those teams, and he was never talked about, but he was an important player, and definitely going to go Ray Parlour.
Ray Parla. Okay, then the last one is Theo Walcott or Eduardo da Silva.
Oh, oh. If Eduardo didn't have that injury, man, that would have we would have won the league that year. But you know what? Like I think like Theo was a frustrating player because I think his ceiling was higher than what he reached. But he is underrated because he still knocked in over 100 goals for Arsenal, I think.
I don't know. I
Like,
don't have a clue.
yeah, I think so. Like, I'm going to say Theo because again, Eduardo was such a short period for Arsenal.
Okay, we
Yeah,
got it down to four players left.
yeah.
Semi-finals coming up. Freddie Ljungberg or Paul Merson.
Ah, oh my God.
It was a good one, eh?
Oh my God. How do you possibly choose that? Because they are. Bloody hell, Rob. I don't even know how to answer that question.
Just give me a
Uh,
name. Two words. Will do.
oh, that really hurts me, this one. Uh, God, Freddie was so good. Ah, sorry, Merce, Freddie.
Freddie continues. Goodbye. So long, Paul Merson for this time. Okay, next up we have Ray Parlour or Theo Walcott.
I'm going to go Ray Parlour.
Ray Parlour. So I probably can guess who wins the final here. It's Ljungberg or Parlour.
Yeah, look, obviously, because we're going on talent here, and that's why Freddie wins. Was Freddie undervalued though massively? I suppose he was in comparison to the other players in the team. So I understand the question, but I think he is a little higher up in quality than the other players. But so I'm going to have to go Freddie. Yeah,
Okay, Freddie is the winner of the
it's I don't know if
underrated stars bracket.
there's a famous thing about Ray Parlour. I don't know if you know this, right? So there's a football program in the UK for many years. I think we spoke about it before, Soccer AM. Yeah,
Yeah.
so there was like a football program, and it was hosted by Tim Lovejoy for the beginning. But I think he created the show, in fact, and he did it in tandem with Helen Chamberlain, and they had really good chemistry, and it was really good in those days. And then they changed hosts over time, and it just got worse and worse and worse. But in its peak, you had Tim Lovejoy doing the hosting. Now, we started in on Sky Sports in the UK. They started doing kind of fan commentary on certain matches. So you used to get like random fans like commentating on the games, and you could listen to those fans rather than normal commentary. In the FA Cup final versus Chelsea, Tim Lovejoy, who's a Chelsea fan, did the like celebrity fan commentary for that match. So if you listen to him doing that match against Arsenal in the final, he literally so funny. He like Ray Parlour picks up the ball and he like takes it in his stride and he puts it out in front of him. And Tim Lovejoy, his famous quote, and he says, "It's only Ray Parlour," and boom, bangs it in from bugging top 30 yards, top corner. And it's just the way it just flowed was unreal. Like say, it's like a famous like Google it on YouTube. It's so
Uh,
good. Like it's only Ray Parlour and bang. But yeah, like I love Ray Parlour, and he's on Talk Sport a lot now in the UK on radio, and he talks well as well. I like, yeah, he's loves his drink though, loves his drink as well. Part of
yeah.
the original Tuesday club at Arsenal. So Yeah, good little quiz, that one. That was a tough one.
Okay, I like it. I like that.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I have to think of something similar for you next week. Right. Okay. Let's move on to these Accas then, Rob. What
Yeah.
have you got for this around even money Big Gun Acca? How do I have to present it better than that. The Big Gun Acca.
Okay, thanks for the introduction. The Big Gun Acca is a fivefold this time. We're gonna start with Chelsea, Bayern Munich, Inter Milan, Barcelona, and Liverpool. And you can find this fivefold for 2.16. Yeah, that's
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Big Gun Acca. And our Student Acca is one that I've been concocting during this episode. So we have Crystal Palace. We have Everton double chance. So the draw or Everton. We have Ajax to continue their run. We have Valencia against the poorest team in La Liga. We have Fabregas and Como. And then we have that French double we liked as well with Lille and Marseille. And you can find that sevenfold Acca at 16.71.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. I like
Okay,
it.
okay. Who are you going to go for your bet of the week?
Wow. Tough choice. Tough choice. It actually came, I think I'm going for AS Roma.
Okay. Yeah, we both like that one. So I was thinking about that myself as bet of the week. But no, my bet of the week is going to go to Villarreal.
Yeah, I was
It's going to go to
also
Villarreal.
whispering it.
And yeah, it's about the odds as well. It's not just about that they're the team. I think push come to shove, I would fancy Roma to win more than Villarreal, but I think with the price that you're getting, that makes it my bet of the week.
Yeah, but you with Villarreal, you do take one more box, and it's that they don't have to play in Europe. So
Yeah.
I left it for you, to be honest. I thought, okay, he's for sure gonna go for Villarreal, so I'm not gonna steal it away from you on the last second. But I actually do like Villarreal a little bit more because of the price. And I think that's what betting is all about in the long run, just finding value for your money. And then if you put on every time the same amount, same unit size, you'll eventually get the winners.
Rob, I've just noticed something. I forgot to fade Heidenheim on the Student Acca.
Okay.
So if you want to add Hoffenheim to that Student Acca and make it an eightfold, ding, 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 29.25
Okay.
odds.
Uh,
So this could be, Rob, we've struck. Oh, this has been a disaster this season for the Student Acca. Let's call it what it is. If this one lands, that makes us in profit for the season. And get this, we can round it all off with Hoffenheim at home to Heidenheim on Sunday evening, and it's my birthday. What a way that would
Ooh.
be to absolute land. A
Okay,
round off
that's
a
good.
nice
Let's get that
day.
one. Let's get
Let's
that one.
go, let's go, let's go. Okay, Rob, that brings us to the end of the pod. Let me do a quick roundup. There wasn't loads of plays this weekend, but I will let the guys know who've listened. Just a quick summary of what we spoke about. So I am leaning towards Man City. Don't love the price, but I am leaning towards them at 1.9. Like Everton as an underdog, 2.9 if you're feeling brave, but double chance we put that on the Acca. Worth a nibble, go ahead Eagles, 3.3. They've been in good form. Not best away team, but let's have a little nibble at 3.3. Villarreal in Spain, bet of the week, 2.45. That's my bet of the week. We love to fade Heidenheim, playing Hoffenheim this week, 1.75. A bit short for my liking, but we're going to whack that onto the Student Acca as well. You could play it as a single. Roma, 2.05. Both me and Rob like that one. That is Rob's bet of the week. We do like Como, bit short, going on the Student Acca, maybe make a double. Speaking of doubles, we do like both Lille and Marseille in France. You can make a double better than even money there, or just go as a single for Nice at 2.05. And we have the big gun Acca of Chelsea, Bayern, Inter, Barca, and Liverpool are better than even money. Whew.
Wow.
Rob,
Long
where can
pod.
people find us?
People can find us across almost every platform you're searching for us. Just type in the betting connection. We're mainly on YouTube for our pod. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcast, but you can find us also on social media platforms like X. We're mainly on there. And we are also on Instagram, we are on Threads, and we are on Blue Sky. So yeah, just like, comment. We would love to hear from you. It's really nice to see slightly growing numbers from us. So yeah, let's keep it going.
Yeah, like and subscribe, guys, please. You'll get notifications when we drop pods. Sometimes we drop them last minute. Whatever you do, have an amazing weekend. Let us know what you're betting on. Let us know what you like. Ciao for now.
Happy betting.